working from home with kids at home while also traveling every 4 to 8 weeks has been tough. Not as hard as when I was building a business with a newborn and a toddler while my husband was deployed during a pandemic, but it has been a lot of juggling.
I love bookkeeping.
Hello and welcome to the I Love Bookkeeping podcast. I'm Hannah Robinson.
And I'm Melissa Honan.
Welcome to the relaunch of the I Love Bookkeeping podcast. We are your new co-hosts and we're so excited to share fresh new content with you guys. On today's episode, we really want to take the time to let you, our listeners, get to know us and how we ended up where we are today. So I'm going to actually start off. I'm Hannah Robinson, and I am going to start off asking my co-host Melissa just some questions about herself so that you guys can really get to know her and get to know how she ended up as my co-host here at I Love Bookkeeping. All right, Melissa, I'm going to have you give me a short background just on who you are and just tell me about yourself.
Awesome. Yeah. So I am Melissa Honan. I'm the CEO of Online Bookkeep LLC. The new co-host of I Love Bookkeeping and founder of the Honan Consulting Group. I've been married to Daniel Honan for 7 years, and we have 2 children. Oliver is 4 and wild, and Ada is 2. We call her La Princesa. And the why behind that would be so obvious if you met her. She is the epitome of a princess. We have a dog named Dawkins and a cat I refuse to name. Because I was going through a breakfast at Tiffany's phase when I was 19. We just call her Key. And we call Winston-Salem, North Carolina home, but we're currently nomadic and fully taking advantage of working remotely.
That's amazing. I love hearing about the breakfast at Tiffany's phase. That's awesome. Just the cat. Those who get it, get it.
Yes, exactly.
So tell me, how long have you guys been in business? And tell me a little bit about how you got started.
Yeah. So Online Bookkeep was founded by Daniel, my husband, in 2016 as Bookkeeping for Painters. He was deployed overseas for the first year of our marriage, and he was looking for something when he came back where he could build his own business. He found Ben's course, and he knew it was perfect for him. But I was super reluctant. I told him that all small businesses fail. And I was not the supportive wife in any way. I never lied to anybody about that, which is so funny when you kind of hear the rest of our story. I came home crying one day from my job where I worked 60 plus hours a week. It was probably like the 10th time that month I had come home crying. And Daniel told me to quit my job and just come work with him. I had 5 years of sales management experience at that point, and he wanted me to come on board and just help him sell bookkeeping services. And I didn't know a thing about bookkeeping, but I went in the next day and I handed in my 2 weeks notice, and I had never felt happier. Like, there was just so much freedom in that. I had never not had a job where, like, I had left that job and didn't have a job immediately lined up. And, it was very typical in that. So it was scary, but it was really exciting. Daniel's goal was to have 10 clients by the end of that next full year. So, at 18 months in business, he wanted to have 10 clients. But at the end of that first 6 months, we had already had 12 clients and the leads weren't slowing down. I'd like to say the rest is history after that, but it's been a super wild few years. We're not perfect. We've had a lot of ups and downs and changes, but I definitely wouldn't trade it for anything. It's been a really great ride. It's brought us to where we are today.
That's amazing. I love hearing you guys' story just because it's such an awesome success story to hear about how you're a mom and you're a business owner and you kind of took that leap of faith to quit your job. And it worked out so amazingly. I think that's so inspirational. Tell me a little bit more about your business, how many clients you serve, your niche, things of that nature.
Yeah, so we now have 2 brands. We have Bookkeeping for Painters and Bookkeeping for Trades. We serve painters, roofers, landscapers, general contractors, as well as some other trades that are, similarly aligned service businesses. We have 115 monthly clients, approximately 107,000 in monthly recurring revenue. I have 3 departments, bookkeeping, account management, and tax. and we're a team of 17 altogether. We have a wonderful tax department that's headed by the amazing Kayzan Yarbrough and Rachel Eldridge, and I would be lost without them. We have approximately $100,000 in tax revenue during tax season right now, but that's rapidly growing because those two women are literally unstoppable. This is their first full year in charge, and I'm so proud of them. When we put together monthly clients, our tax revenue, but not including cleanup, we have about 1.4 million in annual revenue right now.
Wow. That is incredible.
That's the first time that I've said that out loud.
That's absolutely.
So it feels really weird.
That's a big number. Yeah, that's amazing. So I want to hear a little bit more about kind of where you are now, personally, and just kind of how you're managing your business and being a mom. And I know our listeners don't know you on a personal level, but about, I love hearing how you guys are remote right now. And I think that's a lot of people's dream when starting their own business. So tell me a little bit about how that's going.
Right now, I'm in Mexico for 4 weeks. We've been living in Costa Rica for the past 6 months.
Wow, that's tough.
Yeah. And so it hasn't really felt like home. I will say that traveling has been really hard. So we've spent the last couple of months traveling around and trying to find home. So actually, over this past Thanksgiving, we traveled to San Juan del Sur in Nicaragua, and I just clicked with it. It just felt like home. I don't know how else to say it. It felt right. It just felt right. We found the perfect school for the kids. We found a community,
Yeah.
And so we're actually moving there in 3 weeks. So we won't have a house right away. We'll still be like Airbnb surfing, but we're almost settled. But I will say it has been difficult.
By the way, when I said that's tough, I was being totally sarcastic living in Mexico. So incredible. Tell me a little bit about, because you give such great advice. I want to hear more about how you kind of balance being a mom and a business owner.
Yeah, I have to say, so it's funny because when you said that's tough, it's like, it is sarcastic, but it is really hard. Because like working from home with kids at home while also traveling every 4 to 8 weeks has been tough. Not as hard as when I was building a business with a newborn and a toddler while my husband was deployed during a pandemic. So like that's my threshold, but it has been a lot of juggling. Daniel and I split the childcare, and we do fly out grandparents every other month so that we do have help, but it's definitely a lot of juggling schedules. I definitely have mom guilt when I feel like I work too much. I constantly have work guilt because I could be doing so much more if I just had the time, right? And it's definitely been a balance because I'm a recovering workaholic, but I am really big in aggressively defending my personal life. I made a decision at the beginning that my children were going to be way more important than this business. So I choose them every time. I will reschedule the client meeting. I'll reschedule a sales call if my kids are sick and they need me, because they only have one mom, but I have a team here at, Online Bookkeep. And I hope that I've instilled that as part of our work culture,
right,
in the company too, because, I know my employees are people and some of them are moms, and I want them to know that I understand and I want to help them have that balance too.
And that's so great, because I think we have so many listeners who can relate, who are also parents. And it's definitely, from what I hear, it's a balancing act to balance, having kids and moving and having a family and having a business. It's I think it's so important to really make time, not just make time, but prioritize your personal life and family time. So I really commend you for saying that, because I think it's so important. How do you want to provide knowledge to our listeners? Like, tell me about what you're most excited about sharing.
Yeah. So I'm not a bookkeeper anymore, but I do love bookkeeping. My job as CEO is to support my team, to support my bookkeepers so they can be successful. And so I'm so grateful for the opportunity to co-host I Love Bookkeeping so I can support our listeners and help them be successful too. So I definitely look forward to connecting with, a larger bookkeeping audience and helping them in any way that I can.
That's awesome. Well, I am so excited that you're my co-host, and we are going to bring you guys our listeners some really awesome content and a lot of new stuff coming up this season on I Love Bookkeeping. Here is a quick word from our sponsors. Today's show is brought to you by Keeper, the one app to run your bookkeeping business. Keeper helps you get faster client responses with your own custom branded QuickBooks integrated client portal. Finally, you can say goodbye to those pesky spreadsheets full of uncategorized transactions. Keeper also helps you catch those embarrassing coding errors before your clients do. And with Keeper, you can generate beautiful custom reports that your clients will absolutely love to read. To find out more, go to keeper.app. That's keeper.app. Mention I Love Bookkeeping to get 20% off your first 3 months. Again, go to keeper.app to find out more. Thank you for listening.
Awesome. So again, I'm Melissa Honan. I'm your co-host today. And I would like to also ask my co-host, Hannah, a little bit about herself so you guys can get to know the woman behind the microphone. So Hannah, can you start off and just tell me a little bit about your background?
Yeah, so I am born and bred from Atlanta. I currently live in Atlanta. I have been with bookkeepers.com for about 4.5 years. I actually, before this, I was a hair and makeup artist. It was just like you said, it was incredibly long hours. It was something that I started off doing because I knew I was good at it. And it was something that I really enjoyed, but I definitely, I kind of dove headfirst into that career path without realizing the long hours and the lack of break. And I think I got to a point where it was too much. Like you said, I wasn't prioritizing having a life outside of my career. So I quit doing that in 2017. My first salon that I ever worked with, the owners, they were incredibly business minded, and they were nice enough to let me take over their social media and marketing. And so that was my first. I was really young and didn't know a whole lot what I was doing, but they were kind enough to let me take that over. And that was my first time kind of dipping my toe in the water of social media marketing. And it's funny that it came back into a full circle, which is my career now. So I give my first job a lot of credit for me ending up where I am now. But yeah, it's been 4.5 years. My job here has grown so much and I love it. I kind of dabble. I do a little bit of everything. I'm community manager. I write our Friday roundup. I manage our social media. I kind of get to dabble into a little bit of everything with bookkeepers.com. So it's a fun job. No 2 days are the same. And I'm always learning something new. So that's how I got started. Yeah. So this past summer, we actually hosted our first ever conference, BKX. And that was really great because I got to finally meet people in person and just hear about how becoming a bookkeeper and owning their own business has changed their life. And that was such a highlight for me, was just kind of getting to know people and kind of getting to hear people's stories. So yeah, that's my favorite thing, is just kind of building relationships and watching other people build relationships. It really gives me a nice, warm and fuzzy feeling to see how a course has changed people's lives and created friendships.
That's amazing. And you're such a natural at it. So it's such a great fit for you.
Thank you.
So what are you most excited about when it comes to I Love Bookkeeping and this relaunch? What do you want to bring to the podcast?
I really want to pay attention to what our listeners want to hear. I think we're never going to run out of things to talk about. This industry is kind of ever evolving, and I'm really excited about bringing people fresh new content, as well as exploring for myself new things that I never knew, because I'm learning I feel like I'm learning just as much as our listeners are. And so I'm really excited to just kind of discover new things and bring that information to our listeners.
Awesome. Thank you so much for telling us more about you, Hannah. It's always so wonderful to learn, where you've come from and what you do at bookkeepers.com. I think it's absolutely amazing. And I really look forward to this season.
Coming up on I Love Bookkeeping, we have some topics that you guys really want to hear about. We're going to talk about, is bookkeeping a good opportunity? The future of bookkeeping, and really taking a deep dive into how to select your niche. You have that coming up in the next few weeks, and we are super excited to share new information with you guys. Thank you so much for listening to the first episode of the relaunch of the I Love Bookkeeping podcast. My name is Hannah Robinson.
And I'm Melissa Honan.
And we are so excited to bring you new content on the I Love Bookkeeping podcast. Thank you for listening.
I love bookkeeping. Here's a little shout to all my friends working hard at keeping the books. You want to change your life, you want to grow that biz, it's not as hard as it looks. Be a money guide, a profit coach, step up your game and see